Have you ever stopped to think that the ground beneath your feet, the stones in a river, or the huge cliffs of a mountain are more than just, well, rock? They're actually pages in a vast, ancient book. In this explainer, we're going to learn how to read them. All right, just so you know where we are, this is part 5 of a 20-part series on an introduction to earth sciences for everyone. Today, we're diving into how rocks tell the incredible story of our planet. I absolutely love this quote from our source material. It just perfectly nails the idea that locked inside every single rock is a clue, a story about how it formed, where it came from, and what our world was like millions or even billions of years ago. So that's the big question, right? How in the world do you read a story that's written in stone? Well, it all starts by understanding the 3 main families of rock, the 3 different ways these stories can begin. Okay, first up, let's talk about the original building material of our planet, igneous rocks. And their story, well, it begins with some serious, unimaginable heat. The way they're born is actually pretty simple, but wow, is it dramatic. We're talking about magma deep underground or lava flowing from a volcano, just like you're seeing here. When that molten stuff cools down and hardens, boom, you've got brand new rock. It's literally Earth being created. Now, this is where it gets really, really cool. The speed at which that molten rock cools, it changes everything. I mean, everything about how the rock looks. If it cools super slowly, way down deep inside the earth, the minerals have plenty of time to get organized, to grow into these big, beautiful crystals. Think about a granite countertop, right? You can see all the different specks. But if that lava hits the surface and cools like that, super fast, there's just no time. And what you get is something like obsidian, which is basically volcanic glass, smooth, glassy, with no crystals in sight. Okay, so that's a rock born from fire. What about our next family? Well, sedimentary rocks are kind of the opposite. They aren't new creations. They're more like the planet's ultimate recyclers. They are literally built from the pieces of the past. And the process is just beautifully simple when you break it down. First, you have deposition. So tiny bits of older rocks, sand, shells, you name it, we call all that stuff sediments. And they settle down in layers, usually at the bottom of a lake or an ocean. Then comes compaction. As more and more layers pile on top, that sheer weight just squeezes everything down, pushing the water out. And finally, cementation. Think of it like a natural glue. Minerals that were dissolved in the water start to crystallize and basically cement all those little bits and pieces together into one solid rock. And that's why these rocks are so important. They're like the Earth's history books. Because they form in these neat layers, they give us a timeline. Oldest stuff on the bottom, newest on top. And this is where we find fossils. It's incredible. You might find a layer of sandstone that tells you, hey, this was an ancient beach, while the limestone right on top of it might be the remnants of an entire coral reef. All right, our final family of rocks is all about transformation. The name itself, metamorphic, actually comes from the Greek for change of form. And that's exactly what these rocks are. They're old rocks that have been put through the ringer and given a whole new identity. And here's the absolute key. A metamorphic rock could start its life as an igneous rock, a sedimentary rock, or even another metamorphic rock. But then it gets shoved deep into the Earth's crust and subjected to this incredible heat and pressure. It's enough to completely change its texture and its minerals, but, and this is important, not enough to melt it. If it actually melted, it'd just become magma again, right? And then it would cool into an igneous rock. This is all about changing while staying solid. And we've got some fantastic examples of this. You take a sedimentary rock like limestone, squeeze it, bake it, and its minerals recrystallize into this beautiful, strong marble that we use for statues and buildings. Or how about shale? It's a soft, kind of crumbly sedimentary rock. You put it under immense pressure, and it turns into slate, that hard, dense rock that's perfect for things like roofing tiles. It's the same raw material, just fundamentally transformed. So, we've met our 3 families, the fiery igneous, the layered sedimentary, and the transformed metamorphic. But here's the most mind-blowing part of it all. They aren't separate things. They are all just different chapters in one single continuous and absolutely epic story. Okay, let's follow one rock on its incredible journey to see how this works. Picture a chunk of granite born from cooled magma that gets pushed up to form a massive mountain. For millions of years, wind, rain, and ice just hammer away at it, breaking it down into tiny little fragments. And those fragments, that sediment, get washed into a river. Eventually, it all settles at the bottom of a lake. Layer after layer builds up over time, and our granite fragments get buried deeper and deeper, compacted and glued together to become a brand new, sedimentary rock. But the journey is nowhere near over. Tectonic forces might start pushing this new rock deep, deep down into the Earth's crust. And over millions of more years, it gets baked and squeezed until it transforms into a metamorphic rock. And what if it gets pushed even deeper? Well, then the heat becomes so intense that our rock, after all these amazing transformations, finally just gives up and melts, turning right back into magma. From there, it's ready to cool down and crystallize into a new igneous rock. And just like that, the whole epic cycle is ready to start all over again. It's just endless. This quote from the source really just says it all, doesn't it? No rock is permanent. What the rock cycle really shows us is that our planet is anything but static. It is this incredibly dynamic, constantly recycling system. That mountain you see today could literally be the sand on a beach millions of years from now, and then the marble in a building in the far, far future. And so, I'll leave you with this thought. The next time you're out and you see a rocky hillside, or even just pick up a single stone, what story are you going to see? Now that you know the language, the story of fire, of being buried, of incredible transformation, what history will you see written in the world all around you?